Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Tuesday's edition of premarketinfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Well, Dennis, we have a pretty mild 9-point range here in the S&Ps this morning.
Yeah, quiet here, Joel. We haven't really moved around much in the last hour. Just quiet. We've had Coke earnings; they were okay, but besides that, it's actually pretty quiet Tuesday morning here, Joel.
Okay, how you look at it here, potential major top here at 1342.50. 1342 was the high on Friday, which we were unable to reach yesterday. Only getting up to 340.50. We've hit 342.50 in the pre-market. So major resistance there. If that 342.50 holds as a high of the day, we have a downside target of 1327.25. Good number on the downside too, Dennis, as well. Monday's intraday low was 1333.75. We hit 1333.25 in the pre-market. If that holds as the low of the day, we have an upside target of 1348.50. Right now, to turn around and get things positive, we need to get back above and hold the close at 1339. Moving on to the Big Ten, Dennis. ExxonMobil had a nice day yesterday, rallying up to 85.80 and 85.75. So that 85.85 will be a major resistance. Maybe have a little size there at 86 as well. Above that, we have a prior high at 86.5. Coming back on the downside, going to have some mild support at 85, but good number on the downside today, especially with the SPUs are traded in relation to yesterday's low, would be 84.49.
Yeah, this whole 86 area, Joel, 85.85, the high yesterday. But if you look back here, late December, we did cut through there. I think you were talking about that 85.50 just in late December, that one print. But the 86 area was holding 1, 2, 3. Call it 4 or 5 times. We did slice through it just a bit. But overall, that 86 area was giving us some resistance. And then it turned around a few weeks ago and was giving us some support. So let's call this 86 a good swing number here. I think it's going to give you some initial resistance. If it takes that out, then maybe it can move higher.
Okay, Apple Computer continues its trek north, making an all-time high yesterday at 464.98 with a close of 463.97. Seems poised to test that early in the session here. Dennis already trading up 70 cents. It was 463.97 for a tight stop on the long side. Below that, there's really a lot of air to the former all-time high at 460. And it gets harder and harder to find numbers on the upside for resistance, Dennis.
Stock just continues its march higher, Joel. After the earnings, we had that little pullback, and now we just continue to march up every day. We're at 464 right now. Eventually you start thinking about that $500 number for you longer-term traders. Like as we slowly march, you wonder where we're going. Well, 500 would be a key psychological number for this thing. It ain't going to get there tomorrow, but if the march continues and you keep coming up here, eventually we'll be starting to talk about that number. So I think it might be a little premature to talk about 500, but you wonder where it's going and where it's heading, and it wouldn't surprise me if it may be that area.
Okay, moving on to our next component, IBM seems to be taking a little bit of on its rally, post-earnings rally from under 180. Taking a look at the chart, Dennis, I'd like to see the highs taken out here that were made back at the end of last year. The all-time high, of course, being 194.90. Seems like we're just starting to base out here as well, trying to make a little top here. I would call this 194 to get major resistance. 194.13 was Friday's high. Couldn't quite get there yesterday. Coming back on the downside, these lows are starting to hold less and less significance. This 192 might be a place to cover short. I don't know if I look to go long there because below that you have a nice drop to 191.33.
Stock is starting to tire here, right in this area that it tired in December there, in early December. This 194 area seems to get up there and it finds resistance. All-time high 194.90, that's your big significant level, but I think you get those swing traders that are leading in front of that all the way, so you're finding resistance all in the 194. As we get up there to 194, it looks like we got some sellers, Joel.
Okay, moving on to our next component, Chevron Corporation continues its march here, having its third consecutive update in a row, closing at 106.67 with a 106.76 high. Call that resistance all the way up to 107. Above that, Dennis, there's not a lot until a high you had from end of January at 108.57. Coming back on the downside, I really like this 104 and a half level. Monday's low at 104.37 and Friday's low at 104.48.
Yeah, and I think you got a good number up there. 108, Joel. Starting to see a little bit of size forming there in the book. I know we're down today, so I don't know if it'll come into play today. But if we turn around and started rallying, got a little bit open there, that looks like the level where it may want to test. We topped out there a couple of weeks ago. We did cut through there as well, but we had a couple of highs right on 108, and I'm seeing some size start to form there. So I think you'll see some high-frequency resistance in the high 107s if we're to get up there.
Okay, Microsoft, kind of a tight day yesterday, Dennis. It did manage to take out Friday's low, but only got under 30 for just a few minutes there, getting down to 29.97 before recovering, making a high at 30.22. You have the old Monday high, Friday close scenario, 30.22 to 30.24 with the 30.20 close. So starting to get some good resistance ahead of Friday's high, which was 30.40. Coming back on the downside, Dennis, really don't see a lot supporting Microsoft till 29.97, and below that you have to go back to Thursday's low at 29.71.
Yeah, I think your initial support call at the 30 area was a resistance on the upside. It held yesterday, only trading down at 29.97. So the 30 area did hold yesterday. Takes that area out, then it starts to break down. Then I would use that area as resistance. So I think $30 would be a good swing area, Joel.
Okay, moving on to General Electric. We can just roll, sneaking up to 19.15, taking out Friday's high, buying nickel, only pulling back slightly to settle at 19.05. Two lows there, Friday and Monday's low, 18.92 to 18.95. Support moving up in that. We did get another close over 19, Dennis. This thing's really trying to hold 19 on the on a closing basis. You got two closes in a row, but I mean you are looking at a pattern here that's basically been holding since the beginning of the year, 1815 to 1927. When will it break out of that area?
Yeah, this whole area is just thick, thick, thick. The stock seems to get tighter and tighter every day, winding up to do something. Starting to look like it could come up here and start testing the top of the range. Wouldn't surprise me if it actually did that today. 1925 is 1927. That's the top. That's where the high-frequency sellers will be. Breaks out, starts trading over 1930. Then you got a little breakout on your hands, and we'd be breaking out at the top of this range. So I'd say I'm still a seller here in the 1920s. Starts to get over 1930. I'd probably want to cover.
When I'm looking at longer term on this thing, I mean, it hasn't had it's had long consolidation periods before. It had one in April, it had one in May, but it's never had a consolidation in this tighter range for this longer period. So maybe we can guess right when this thing finally makes a move. Procter & Gamble, Dennis, got off the mat yesterday. Seemed to be some buyers on the open. Just never really looked back. If you were shorting that thing, you didn't have much luck. Got up to 63.61. Resistance will be from there up to Friday's high, 63.86, 63.51 close. Trading right at that area there, so that would be your swing area. If it can't hold the close, 63.51, I expect this thing to float back the way it floated up yesterday, Dennis.
A lot of air in here. We had a pretty good range there on Friday, a decent range for it yesterday too as the stock moved up I still think your resistance. I think you got a good number, 63.85. Call that whole area is $64. There's some size starting to form there. The high frequency guys will be selling this in the 63.90s. We take out 64, then we start to move higher. But it was a good day for Procter & Gamble yesterday, Joel, overall. So maybe a little bit of money moving into these defensive names and a little value investors coming in. So if we can start trading above that 64, then you could get a little bit more bullish and maybe start thinking about that 65 area.
Okay, AT&T closed just off the high of the day, 29.97. 30.07 was Friday's high. Couldn't quite get to that area. Seems to be struggling a little bit here at 30, Dennis. Below, can't hold this close area. I look for Monday's low at 29.69, but T consolidating just like GE.
Yeah, AT&T, we got this 30 number starting to get some size there. The high frequency guys are in the 29.97. So call it settlement 29.97 to $30. They're all going to be leaning in there on that 30 area. Takes a 30 out, then they're out, and then it could possibly move higher. But I think you see some pretty good high frequency resistance at least at the open here. Might give you a chance to sell in front of those guys.
Okay, a little interest in owning J&J yesterday. Was unable to get up to Friday's close, made high at 65.58. Just kind of drifted down during the day, making a low at 65.05 before recovering at 65.19. This 65 area is lending pretty good support. If this thing can't hold 65, I think you're going to get a nice little drop here, at least to 64.34. And we'll use the major resistance will be up at the 65.60 level. This stock too has been consolidating and holding this low 64 to 66 range, and here we are smack dab in the middle.
This stock is doing the exact same thing it did in late December. 66, it had struggled to go through. It broke out, which basically short-term traders come in and say, oh, it's breaking out, they get long. It's a fake out, they get caught long, and then it starts to break down. So then there's a struggle here at 66 where you get traders that are thinking, well, it might still move higher here, against traders that are thinking, well, no, it's going to move lower. The short traders won back in late December there. Stock broke down. Same thing occurs here just a couple sessions ago. Breaks out, gets the exact same high, 66.32, catches people long, and now the stock starts to break down as those breakout traders are caught by the fake out. So now what you're seeing is the stock is breaking down. So as the stock came back to 66, those traders who were caught long, maybe some of them sneak out, but other ones might still be caught long, and stock starts breaking down. So I think you're exactly right. It might do the exact same thing, go down that 64.30 area, which is what it did early January when it broke down the first time.
Okay, moving on to Pfizer. Couldn't quite get up to Friday's close there, making a high 21.18 and kind of drifting down on the day, lower and lower. Made a low at 20.87, 8 cents off last week's low, recovering to close at 20.95. I expect resistance and maybe perhaps come in as low as the $21 level now as those sellers are coming down. The major resistance will move down from 21.31 to 21.20.
There's no interest in the stock whatsoever. It's already had earnings. It's already had its dividends, so you won't see any of those dividend players come in for at least another month and a half. So the stock here just has no interest, and it just slowly continues to drift down, Joel. We had this, huge run up from the 18 area to 22, ahead of the earnings, ahead of the dividend. That's all happened. Now, what's the catalyst going forward for Pfizer? I don't know, unless they have some type of drug come out, or an FDA approval or something. I don't see a catalyst going forward here, so I think you need to be a seller of rallies.
Okay, that's a recap of the Big Ten. The S&Ps just hanging out here, just hanging above the Globex low, 13.33 1/4. Of course, below that you have the Globex low from Monday at 13.30. So, tight range in the market yesterday, Dennis. Just trying to gain momentum to leap forward above this 13.42, or see if some profit taking comes into place. That's our Big Ten and SPU show for you. We'll be back in a few minutes with the market movers.